Okay, we continue in Sefer Shmuel, Shmuel Aleph, Perek Hey. We're on Pasuk Yud Aleph. We have the Aron is in the hands of the Plishtim. Hashem has wreaked havoc on already 3 cities. The cities of Ashdod, Gas, and now Ekron. They sent the ark to Ekron, and Ekron didn't want any part of it. So Pasuk Yud Aleph. Vayishluchu, they sent forth. Vayasvu es kol sarnei Plishtim, they gathered all the governors of the Plishtim. Vayomer, they came to the decision. Shalchu es Aron Elokei Yisrael, send away the ark of the God of Israel. V'yashov limkomo, and let it return to its place. Lo yomis osiv es ami, should not kill me and my people. Why were they so certain that it should leave? Because there was a confusion of death in the entire city. And the hand of Hashem was very heavy over there. So the Malbim says that things had gotten to the worst stage possible. And there's a few reasons why. One is given in this pasuk, because it was a muhumas maves. It was already now bringing death to the cities. Until now, it was just extremely aggravating having those rodents going up your backside and the hemorrhoids and all that. But now it was to the point where people were dying immediately. And also in Yud Beis, vanashim asher lo mesu, and the people who didn't die, huku bat chorim, they were smitten with these rodents and these hemorrhoids, and everybody now was sick. Vatal shavas eir shamaima, and the crying out of the city went up to the heavens. So it was a very, very incredibly painful plague. Okay, that ends Perek Hey. We move on to Perek Vav. Pasuk Aleph. Vayi Aron Hashem b'stei Plishtim shiva charashim. And the ark in total was in the field of the Plishtim 7 months. So Malbim points out that this is not just, in other words, the plagues did not leave. So they saw this just wasn't just a happening, sometimes you get a sudden flash plague that comes out of nowhere. No, those things don't last that long. So 7 months is an incredibly long period of time for people to realize that things, we have to do something about it. So one more time, so they made the decision to send it back, and so now they have to come up with a plan. So Pasuk Beis, Vayikru Plishtim laKohanim v'laKosnim lemor. So the Plishtim called out to their priests and to their sorcerers, saying, 2 questions. Manasa la'aron Hashem, what are we going to do with the ark of Hashem? And number 2, Hodiunu b'amen nishalchenu limkomo, and inform us how to send it back to its place. Meaning to say, they had 2 questions. Question number 1 is, should we send it back to the Jews, or should we keep it by us? That's number 1. Number 2, if we do decide to send it, so now we have to understand, in what manner should we send it? In other words, should we send it back on a wagon? Should we carry it on our shoulders? Should we send it back with gifts? Should we send it back empty-handed? Those are the 2 questions. And those 2 questions would be addressed, this is all the Malbim's explanation. The 2 questions were addressed to 2 different groups of people. And one was the Kohanim, and one was the priests, and one were the sorcerers. Because each group was uniquely qualified to answer each of the 2 questions. The first question, should we send the ark back? Well, that you discussed with the sorcerers. Because the sorcerers supposedly know the hidden natural secrets and how, God's work with things, and they will be able to tell in their sorcerer fashions if this was a divinely sent thing or it's a happening. Now again, at this point in the game, it's hard to say it's a happening, so we will see later on exactly the Malbim later on, midway through the parak, will elaborate on what exactly is the issue. But that's the first question. So should they send the ark away or not? That they need the mystical experts. But the second question of, if you will, we are going to send it, how do we send it? Well, that we have to speak to the holy people. We have to speak to the priests. They're the ones who understand how the gods like to be treated. Right? So it's two different skill sets, so he asks different questions. So they're first going to deal with the second question and then with the first question. Vayomru, so the priests answered them. Well, and this is something that they could answer right away. In other words, the second question could be answered right away. The first question will take a little time. So they say like this: Vayomru im mishalchin es arna lokei Yisrael. If you are going to send the ark of the God of Israel, al tishalcho osam reikam. Don't send it away empty-handed. Ki hashev tashivu lo asham. Because you should surely send an asham with it. Okay, so what does it mean to send an asham with it? So Rashi explains that an asham is a sign. Literally, the word asham means a guilt offering. So what Rashi explains, it's a heker dover, something to show recognition. In other words, to admit you did something wrong. If you did something wrong, you have to give something. Just like we have in Judaism, is a certain korbanos called an asham. It's a guilt offering. You're recognizing your guilt with it. So, so if you do that, then then maybe God will lay off of you, and that's. Or similarly, in the expanded version of Rashi, he says, to somebody that you wronged, you give him this thing, give him this gift or whatever, because even customarily, if you hurt somebody's feelings, you pay them some money, punitive damages, whatever. So that's one that's the main interpretation. So, and now, why would you want to do this? So that's what they continue, and he says, Oz teirafu, then there'll be a refuah, then there'll be a healing. V'nodel will be known to you that. Now the next words are hard to translate. Lama lo sasur yado mikem. You'll know why he didn't move his hand away from you. So the Malbim explains part of this. He explains it all, but so they're saying like this. If it will be clarified that the reason you're being punished is because of the ark. Now, again, the Malbim is even saying, even here, he's saying, the question is, should we send it back or not? The real question that they'll be asked is, of course they know it's from God. At this point of the game, you can't not think it's not from God. The question is, they're still not sure why God is sending it. What do you mean? He's saying, well, is it because we took the Aaron? Or is it for other reasons? And God is just using the Aaron as an excuse to punish us for other reasons. In other words, it could be very simply, we took their God, we took their ark. Their God is mad. He's punishing us for taking the ark. That's one. Or it could be, we're rotten stinkers anyway, and really we had it coming to us. But God, in order to effect the punishment to us, can't just get it out of the ether. So what does he do? He brings the situation that we go and capture the ark, and now that we've captured the ark, that brings brings to bear all our negative actions of the past, and he's getting us for something in the past. So what's the difference? The difference is, do we have to show? So maybe the issue could be that we're being punished for other reasons, and not for taking the ark. Then maybe not necessarily do we have to take the ark back. Maybe we didn't sin about the ark. Maybe we sinned about other things. So we'll take care of the other things. So that's what they're not sure about. But once it becomes clarified that it is because of the ark, right, and because this was the specific bad thing we did, that we took it into captivity, etc., etc. So if we're going to send it back without a guilt offering, it may help that maybe we're not going to be hit anymore in the future. But what about the past? What about all the people who are suffering and they're sick from this mouse disease and the hemorrhoids and all this? But in other words, we have to admit our guilt, and if we admit our guilt, then He will heal us from the past, and that's what He means. Oz terafu. Then we will be healed, and then the Malbim adds, and if, let's say, the guilt offering won't be enough, let's say even if we give the guilt offering, it's not enough to get the anger away for us from taking the ark. So the Malbim says, that's what the last words are saying. Then we're going to have to inform you through our prophets what is the reason why God hasn't taken His hand away from us. We're going to have to come up with another reason. In other words, we're not sure. But one thing I'll say for sure, if you guys decide to send the ark, if you decide that the reason why, the sorcerers decide that they think it's because we took the ark, fine. So now we better show we're sorry and admit our guilt and go give a gift offering together with this. And why do we need to do that? Because now if God's anger goes away, we still got to get rid of the old disease. He's not angry with us, but He struck us with a disease and walks away, and we're stuck with that disease. We've got to give the gift that it'll cure us. And if not, and if, let's say, what we did was so bad that even the gift offering isn't enough, then we're going to have to go back to the sorcerers and say, you better find out mystically what the real reason is. There must be something deeper than the ark. Then that you'll find out why. That's how the Malbim learns it. The Metzudah says, when we give it back, the sicknesses will go away, and then it will be clear that we'll know it came from Hashem. And then he'll say, and then we'll know. You'll know why. Why we got the punishment. That's how long. Either way, they're saying that they've got to bring the gift offering. Yeah.
So how could they have any doubt, considering the disease followed wherever they took the ark? It went from one side.
Well, it could be the ark is just a beacon to expose previous. Now that you've brought their God in there, it's no different than with Yidden. It's not. Let's say Lashon Hara. We know what's the worst thing about Lashon Hara? Not so much you get punished for the Lashon Hara, but Lashon Hara opens up the court that's been backed up for years of all the things that God has not brought to trial. You've done 50 million averos for the last 10 years, but Hashem doesn't like to take it to trial. Now you start talking Lashon Hara, that's the one that brings everything to trial. So it's the same thing. Bleaching did a lot of sins, but God is all merciful. But now you bring the ark up. Now that it opens the whole Pandora's box.
But it's only going to the places where the ark was.
Because that's now focusing on everybody's sins of the past.
In that city.
Yeah, it's of the past. It's just a beacon to illuminate all the past sins. But maybe taking the ark wasn't so bad.
So if they're smart enough to figure out that it's God punishing them either for the ark or for their past sins, then shouldn't they figure it out and say, well, why we need all these idols and convert? I mean, they're admitting that God is all powerful.
No, not all powerful, just powerful. It's one God. It's one God. It's one God. It's one God. Well, listen.
His words in it.
We've already proved many times that when their God got cut up to bits, they still didn't make a big deal about it. Remember what we said? When their God got cut up to bits by the threshold, they said maybe there's a God at the threshold. Anything but to admit that Hashem is all powerful. That is just never going to admit to that. No one wants to admit to that. So they're trying to come with any other convoluted logic that will satisfy them. Logical it isn't. But then again, who's saying that anybody who lives for money is never going to be logical? So we can't expect perfect logic. Okay, so now we have to give a gift. Pasuk Dalet. Vayomer, they said, so what should be the gift we should give him? Vayomer, they should say, well, listen, Mispar Sarnei Plishim Chamisha. The amount of governors around are 5. So for that we should have Chamisha Tchorezov. 5 of those golden rodents. In other words, the very same thing we're being punished with. That's the Mida Keneged Mida, measure for measure tshuva. We'll send back 5 golden rodents, or 5 golden hemorrhoids, whatever a golden hemorrhoid is. V'chamisha ach brezov, and 5 golden rodents. Ki magefa achas ukul masanem, because it's one punishment for everyone. So what they're equating the governors with the people with the one punishment. So there should be 5 golden hemorrhoids for the 5 governors, and also another 5 golden rodents that are bigger than that, or I don't know which one's which. It's so confusing over here. But or no, the bigger ones, the ones for the generals are the governors are the bigger ones because they're the big guys, and the 5 golden rodents, which are smaller, for the 5 cities that are under their domain. So everyone is taken care of over there. Okay. And pasuk hey, vasisem salmei tchoreim v'salmei achbarim, will make them in the images of the hemorrhoids and the rodents. Hamashchishim es oris, that's destroying the land. Nesatem lelokei Yisrael kavod, will give honor to the God of Israel. Ulai yokel es yadom elechem, maybe he will lighten his hand off from upon you, umeyal elokechem, and from your gods, mel artzechem, and from your land. Okay, maybe things will get better. Okay, so that is the answer to question number 2. If you're going to send, yes, we should send with a gift, and this is the type of gift you should send. Now, next number of psukim, they're going to analyze the first question. And in analyzing this, they have to, there's 2 ways, there's 2 sides of the coin to the first question. Should we return it or not? There's 2 sides to the coin. So the first side is like this. Let's say we're going to admit that Hashem hit us, and let's say He hit us because of the ark. Okay, maybe that's the case. And that's why we're suffering. But still in all, maybe we shouldn't send it back. Because maybe the sickness that Hashem brought to us, it has some connection with natural diseases. And a natural disease has a certain amount of time that runs its course. And once it runs its course, it's not going to continue anymore. In other words, yes, maybe God did it to us. And maybe God did it because of the ark. But listen, God's only so powerful. So He sent us a terrible rodent disease. But we know in other words, God worked within the rules of nature that even God has to be submit to. So He's able to, send us a temporary big disease. But it still runs its course and then stops. And then God can't do anything more. Okay. Now, it's hard to believe that. But, you could suggest that. Remember, He's not all powerful, so He works within the rules of nature. So He had the ability to give us a big set, but now He's out of gas. So He's run his. So of course He's still mad at us, but there's only so much He can do to hurt us. So that we can still keep it anyway. Because now, what else can He do? He's done everything He can do to us. That is the one side of the coin. You might think that. So to which they now say, no. Why should you harden your hearts? Just like the Egyptians of long ago hardened their hearts. And Paro hardened their hearts. Just like God mocked them. Right? And then they eventually sent them and they went out. So do we need to be as stubborn and as foolish as the Egyptians? Right? So therefore, that's the first side. We've answered that. You want to think that? That means we're just going down the same road the Egyptians have gone. Not a good idea. Okay. So now let's look at the second side. Are we sending the ark because we're in doubt? Is it because it's specifically for the ark? Or maybe it's another reason beyond the ark and we're just getting punished now because the ark is here. So now we're going to have to make a test to know if it's supremely, ultimately for the ark totally, or not to do with that. And what that test is, the next few psukim will elaborate. The next 3 psukim will show and describe the test that has to happen to know 100% for sure. Because remember, if it's 100% for sure, then we have to give the gift. That makes it clear to them. So, v'ata, and now, ku, take, v'asu, and make for yourself, agola chadosha, a brand new wagon. Echos 1. Ushtei faros alos, and 2 nursing cows. Asher lo Allah aleim ol, that never had a yoke on top of them. Vasartem es haporos bagola, and tie the cows up to the wagon. Vashevosa b'neim me'acharei maboisa. But the nursing cows have little children, have little calves, and leave the calves behind in their home. In other words, what you're going to do is you're going to want to separate a nursing mother from her calf, which is a very not natural thing. So now already in this pasuk there are 4 signs within this test that would have to be miraculously happening for this to happen. So the Malbim elaborates on this. Number 1, first we say, let's use something new. Why something new? A new wagon. Because for honor for something, you want to give honor, you give honor, let's say you want to give a gift to somebody. You don't give a used gift. You give a brand new gift. Right? So, and also a new gift, how does he translate? A gola as a wagon, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he says he says also a new wagon is harder to carry. I don't know. I guess it doesn't get broken in or whatever. I don't know. I don't understand it exactly. But it's an honorable thing to give, but it's harder for the cows to lead a new wagon. Maybe the wheels aren't greased, and even though we know a new car drives better than a used car, but I guess a new wagon, it's not worked in. It's not worked in yet. It's a little bit harder to pull. Okay, but it is honorable. Now take nursing cows. Nursing cows are not used to pulling wagons. That's number 2. That didn't have a yoke. Again, they haven't been trained in carrying heavy items. But the biggest proof is the children, the calves are behind them. That's totally against the nature of a nursing calf to leave her child behind. So it normally would not want to go. In other words, build it all in a way that makes it very hard for these cows to pull this wagon away from their children. That will show a miraculous, if they do it, it'll be a miraculous thing, and that will prove to us. Pasuk Ches, Ulekachtem es Aron Hashem, and take the ark of Hashem, Unesatem oso el hagola, and put it into the wagon, Veis klei hazohav, and those golden utensils, the gift, Asher shevos Hashem, which you're giving back as a guilt offering, Tosimu ba'argaz mitzido, put it in a box on the side of the ark, V'shilachtem oso v'aloch, and send it away for it to go. So now, the question is, will it go on its own? That's the question. Now, that's still not enough. Even if it goes, we still want to have a few more proofs to make sure. Even though you'd figure that's enough. But no, it's more. We have to see exactly where it goes. Remember, there's no coach rider to lead it. And we're sending it out from, in other words, it's like you're sending it out from an estate property. So you go out from an estate property, first of all, the cows can just go around the estate. It's got to get now to a road. It's going to take it to the main road. From the main road, it's going to take it to the Jewish settlements. So now there's nobody guiding these cows. How do we know they're going to go in that direction? So we have to see exactly where it goes. In other words, the test in the next puzzle will be, it's got to go directly to the Jewish place, to Israel, from the Plishtim area without any guidance. That's pasuk test. And you'll see, will it go in the direction of the boundary towards Bet Shemesh? Bet Shemesh was probably the closest Jewish settlement to the Plishtim. So then if all that happens, then we know that we know Hashem did this evil thing, and specifically for taking the ark, says the Malbim. Of course we know that God did it, but is it for the ark? Yes, because you see the ark is there, and the ark is miraculously going back to the Jewish people. But if not, and if it doesn't go right back to Bet Shemesh, so we know, Kilo Yodo Nago Banu, we know that it's not God's hand, as it were, specifically for this, but rather it's just overall anger to us. It's overall anger. It wasn't for anything specific. So Mikra Hayolanu, it's a happening. Hashem's mad. He wants to punish us for something else we did. We're not sure what it is. Okay, and then we're going to have to go back to the drawing board to figure out exactly what is it that got Hashem so upset with us.
This pasuk seems to say that it's not. It says "Lo yada nagabanim." It's not saying that it's not specifically for this. It's saying it's not him.
Well, the Malbim says it's not possible to say that.
Yeah.
He says there's no way they could say it's not God.
You would think.
The Malbim goes to great lengths to say it's not possible. You sent it to 3 cities, and how they've been. You can't not say it's not God, right? So therefore, he's saying, but no, maybe it's just, that it not for this specific reason, not for this specific reason. Okay. Pasuk Yud. Vayasu anashim kain. The people did so. Vayikhu shtei faros alos. They took the 2 nursing cows. Vayasrum bagalo. They tied it up to the new wagon. Vespneim kolu babais. And they kept their children back in their homes. Yud Aleph. Vayasimus aron Hashem elagalo. They put the ark of Hashem into the wagon. Veisar gaz. Veisach breazov es salmit koreim. And they give the box and the golden mice and the images of the hemorrhoids, the whole thing. Okay, now we come to a very interesting pasuk Yud Beis. Vayisharna haparos baderech al derech Beit Shemesh bimsila achas. So vayisharna. There's 2 ways to translate the word vayisharna. One is from the word yashar. It went straight. So Mama says again, a number of miracles happened. So, again, the ark and the calves were very far off of the main road. But the cows went directly to the main road to take you to Beit Shemesh. Bimsila chas, 1 road. Holchu haloch, v'ga'u, v'lo sora yaminu shmol. They went in the straight path without any, not going backwards or forwards. They took every road that was the right road to get them there. Right? They went and v'ga'u. Now, what was that? Was it meant to groan? How's the English translated?
Load. That's the sound that a cow makes when they're either in pain or they're unhappy.
What's called loading?
Lowing. Lowing.
Lowing.
Yeah, lowing.
Okay.
A cow makes them.
Okay, making cow noises. Right? Now you could think, now what kind of noise are they making? Could it be they're making noises of cry, of sadness?
It's a pain. It's usually used when they want to milk their, when they're in pain.
So I guess it makes a different sound than a regular moo?
It's a different sound.
Okay, I'm pretty ignorant about cows. So
they bellow. This is the comment says they bellow.
Go. So since it's tzakas apara, they're crying out. It's a crying out sound. Okay. Anyway, so they're crying out. So the simple translation is they're crying out because they miss their kids. They're being separated from their kids. The Malbim says it's mirov simcha, out of a lot of joy. Why? Because the rabbis learn another pshat in v'yisharna. V'yisharna can mean straight. Can also comes the word shira, which means to sing. And the rabbis say that the cows were singing. And why? Because what happened, this event showed the unbelievable, miraculous nature of Hashem's hashgacha. And that is part of the song that comes out of His creation. And we'll elaborate more on that tomorrow. Let's just finish the pasuk. So, and finally, v'lo sara yaminu shmol, and they didn't veer to the right or the left. Even though the road would be windy, and they might go off the road, they didn't. And more than that, v'sarnei plishim hochim achreim, and the Philistine governors were going behind them, not in front of them. They weren't even guiding them. And hochim achreim ad gvul Beit Shemesh, till it came to the boundary of Beit Shemesh. So what we need to do tomorrow is discuss what's the singing business over here. And number 2, they're going to come to Beit Shemesh, and unfortunately we're going to see some devastating results. And we need to discuss why that happened. And that will be the balance of the parak tomorrow, Mitzvah Hashem.